I tell you why people do this. Why people use these to try to fix
I
their
do
brokenness.
those things.
And I'm with you. I
do
still
those
reach out to
things.
those things in my own
I
self.
do these things.
So let me give you the blames test, and then I'm going to go right from that. I'm going to give you some good news, okay? The gospel means the good news, and the whole Bible is about this gospel. So here's even worse news is that you know what blasphemy is?
When you say something against God
Yeah.
that you know is
That's
not
right.
true.
Right. Exactly. That's good. Now, here's how we do that in word or deed. We can either use God's name as a cuss word, or we can claim to be spiritual or claim to belong to God. But behind closed doors, we blaspheme God with how we live because nobody sees what we do in secret and nobody knows our thoughts. So we can blaspheme God with how we live, about what we say. Would you say you're guilty or not guilty? Because I'm going to put a check for me.
I'm guilty.
All right, so it's 2 checks for both of us.
I'm guilty.
L stands for lying. Can you keep up with how many lies you told in your whole life?
No.
All right, so I'm going to put 2 checks. A stands for adultery. Here's what Jesus says. He says, you have heard it was said that you should not commit adultery.
I believe that.
All right.
You can check that.
All right. But then Jesus says, but I say to you, if anyone looks at a woman or a man with lust, they commit adultery in her in his heart. So you don't have to be a physical act. It's just even starting in the mind. So we're both guilty. All right. M stands for murder.
I ain't never murdered.
All right. So you're going to be surprised about this. Here's what Jesus says in 1 John chapter 3, verse 15. He says, if you hate your brother or a sister, you're a murderer at heart. And no murderer has eternal life residing in him. So basically what it means is, if you ever been jealous of somebody or really like angry at somebody for something, if you ever been unforgiving for what somebody's done, that's a form of hate.
But I'm not like that.
Okay,
Honestly, I'm
all right.
not like that.
So I'm gonna put a check for me, and I'm gonna X for you because you're a lot better person than I am.
I don't ever recall just being jealous of somebody or I'm just not a mean-spirited person. I forgive people for what people done did all kind of stuff to me, and I
can see that.
My sister that I told you slept with my husband is my best friend. You know,
wow.
I'm just today. You know,
yeah. Wow.
I'm not that type of person.
Okay.
I honestly can say that.
Well, no. I'm gonna tell you, you're a lot better than I am. So E stands for exalt. All right, this could be anything. Like if you ever went a month or a day or even a minute or a year or years, and you didn't really acknowledge God or even talk to God until what? Until something went wrong. Then we had a tendency to say, hey, God, I need you. But most of the time, we spent our time doing what we want to do. So what else did you put ahead of God is the question.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of stuff.
Everything else. And that could be anything from like what we're talking about.
A relationship,
job, money, all of these things right here.
Yeah.
If we participated in any of these things right here, we've put something before God, right?
Yes.
So S stands for steal. Have you ever stolen anything, even if it's small?
Yeah.
All right, me too. All right. So, Miss Cynthia, I told you this bad news first, but you just admitted that you just like the rest of us. You're a blasphemer, a liar, an idolater. I'm saying an adulterer.
I'm all that.
Right? And so one day, Miss Cynthia, you have to face God, and He's a righteous judge. He's good. He's righteous, right? So, crazy scenario, crazy illustration. You was going down the road, and you had your concealed gun carrier. And man, you had all these frustrations in your mind, and all of a sudden this guy pulls out in front of you. He jumps out the car and starts cussing you out. And in a moment of anger, you take out your gun and you shoot this person in the head. You going down. You don't really even care because you were so frustrated, but you kind of regret it. And you get to the court date, and the judge steps out, and you see this rage in this judge's eyes, and he looks at you and he says, "How do you plead?" And you say, "Oh, I'm guilty." He says, "Let me tell you that guy that you shot in the head was my son." What do you think this judge is gonna do to you?
Oh, it's extra. It's
extra, right?
To throw the bull.
To the max.
Yeah.
Could you pay him like $10,000 to try to escape?
No, that's his son.
That's his son. There's no way you can pay him off. That's a slap in his face to think you can pay him off and walk free.
Yes.
Well, Miss Cynthia, when Jesus went to the cross, who put him there? You have any idea who put Jesus on the cross?
Men, people.
We did.
Yeah.
So you tell me, how much good could you do in your lifetime to pay God off after you killed his son?
Nothing.
It's nothing we can do. Does that make sense? So not even your religious activities are going to be enough to pay God off after we put his son on the cross without sin. That makes sense? And a lot of people think that they can just be good enough. A lot of people think that they can pray enough or do these all religious activity, go to people's door and tell, they want to stack up their resume so they can point this stuff in God's face one day and say, hey, God, I deserve a place in heaven after you killed his son. All right? So basically, God is only left to do you one thing to you and the only thing to all of us. If he's a good judge, he rightfully is supposed to do what? Give us what we deserve. That makes sense? Yeah. That's okay. That's all right. I hate to show you this good news first, but now I want to show you something that's going to bring you joy. That makes sense? I'm going to show you something that's going to bring you joy, Miss Cynthia. Here's the good news. Remember I told you the gospel means what?
Good news.
The good news. But I have to show you what first?
The bad news.
All right, so let me show you the good news.